House will now welcome the Prime Minister, right and honorable as he is, with a constructive speech on the topic. This House should, what was the topic?
Reconsider the funding of Purdue University.
Reconsider the funding of Purdue University. You may begin.
The Prime Minister would like to thank the Speaker of the House for recognizing him, and I'd like to thank everyone here for showing up. It's always fun to debate in front of people, to be able to share these ideas with people. So without further ado, let's get into these ideas. Before we take a step into the actual meat of the discussion, I'd like to define a few things to make sure that what we have going on here is clear, that both sides have the same picture. We're going to say that this House is the state of Indiana. We're talking about reconsidering the funding. We're going to somehow change the funding. We're going to look at the funding, see the change that needs to be made, and make that change. And it's going to be, we're specifically, with as regards Purdue University, we're going to look to Discovery Park, an arm of Purdue University that incubates startups, that gives startup funding, helps these small businesses get off the ground. This is the area that we're specifically going to look at. We're going to change the funding to Discovery Park and thus the funding to Purdue University. And when we get back to this, the way that we want you to decide whether or not we prove this resolution, this House should reconsider the funding for Purdue University, whether we prove that true or not, is to look at the net benefits. Does our plan on the whole give you benefits or give you, disadvantages, give you bad things? They'll argue that it gives you bad things. We'll argue that it gives you good things. In the end, I think we'll prevail. So with that said, let's move on to the harms, the plans that exist in the status quo. And specifically what I want to point to here is the Indiana brain drain that we see going on. We see people come to Purdue University, one of the best technical universities in the country, get jobs or degrees in high-powered technology fields, electrical and computer engineering, computer science, engineering. And what do? They leave. My friend Dave Sutherland in the audience is going to Portland to work for Intel. And while I'm sure there are people who are staying here, this is indicative of the broader problem. We need at least some of these high-tech jobs to stay in Indiana to help keep our tax base, our income strong. So the plan today is that the state of Indiana will triple the funding of Discovery Park. Just to put this in ballpark, we believe our guesstimate on what the current funding is about $100 million. So this would increase the budget from about $100 million to about $300 million. That's our kind of story, and we're kind of sticking to it. So how do we solve this brain drum? And basically, the way we solve this, our solvency, is that we send a message by making such a huge change in the funding that the state of Indiana is giving to these high-tech companies, to these startup companies. We say, Indiana is the place to be. Indiana is the next Silicon Valley, the next Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, where they've had this huge boom in the technology industry. Google just moved into a new office in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. They've changed from a steel town into a technology town. We want to do the same thing. I'll take your question.
Approximately how many startups are there in Discovery Park right now?
This is going to be another guesstimate. I would say on the order of 40.
Okay.
So that's the idea. Secondarily, we're also going to be able to keep high-powered professors here. These professors want to do interesting work. These startups gives them an opportunity to explore ideas in the confines of the market. The market is kind of the test of what ideas truly do work and what don't. This gives them the test of where they can find out whether these ideas work or not. This is what they want, so they'll stay here. And again, this will feed the cycle. But not only do we gain this, stopping this brain drain, we're also going to gain economic advantages. And this is specifically going to be in regards to small businesses. Small businesses are the core of the American economy. Something like 70% of the American economy, from kind of a GDP-ish perspective, comes from these small businesses. These small businesses are the engine, in spite of these, the image of these companies that are too big to fail. It's the small companies that keep America going. And the link here, the way we get to this, is basically we're funding small business. We're giving money to start more small businesses, keep more small businesses going, get more small businesses off the ground, and thus keep the engine of the American economy going. And we can look specifically there's an example of a tech company called Color out in San Francisco. The people are saying there's a tech bubble now, suddenly, because this company got hugely massive funding. But by sending this message, by saying that we are behind this not simply to fund one company, but at a broad level, we're going to increase the economy. We can give these small businesses the ability to create jobs, to reduce unemployment, to increase people's quality of life, to reduce stress, and to make America a better place. You're going to vote for the plan. Thank you.
The House thanks the Prime Minister and will now welcome the right and honorable leader of the opposition.
my friends as well. Just to provide a brief roadmap for what we're going to be looking at, I am going to present 2 additional arguments new in the round that we believe highlight the problems of the plan presented by the government team, and then move down the arguments they have presented in favor of their case. That being said, is everyone ready? Despite the heckling, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. As my good colleague said, it is always more fun to debate in front of an audience. With that being said, though, I think there are 2 major problems that they are failing to account for in presenting this plan. These will consist of 2 disadvantages of the plan as presented. The first disadvantage deals specifically with the budget of the state of Indiana. Now, when we look to their plan, they are specifically saying that they are going to increase spending on Discovery Park 3-fold. They provide the estimate of $100 million currently being spent on that institution. But what does this mean for the context of the broader Indiana budget? What does it mean to triple this amount of funding? We can look to 2 specific areas in which cuts are likely to be made. The first is funding for secondary education, aka high schools. When we look to the discussion that is